Mr. Pond Boss, tell me what to
Here we go.
to make all my lumber lake dreams come true.
Hey, let's go live, everybody. Spend about an hour and chit-chat about ponds and lakes and stuff. You guys climb in here and let's have a little conversation. I thought I'd start the evening off talking about aeration. But I probably should wait until we have at least one viewer, which looks like we don't have any right now. Leanne didn't. I forgot to tell Leanne to put a little notice out there I was going to go live today. And, you know, a lot of you guys might be frozen in somewhere, so I'm kind of hoping you'll join us, and we'll just see where it goes. So I'm going to start off tonight talking about aeration. We got one reaction, one viewer. That's a good start. Hello, John Dyer. I should have known that was going to be you, buddy. Hey, John knows what to do. Hashtag Pond Boss Magazine. Click like. Share to your timeline. There's Dave Weber from northeast of Kansas City, or actually north of Kansas City in northwest Missouri. Ian, I'm 3. Yeah, you know what? It's better to be third than last. I just made that up. Hey, I thought I'd be talking about aeration a little bit tonight. There's Bill Sharam. He's checking in. Hashtag Pond Boss Magazine. He's got the deal. You guys know what to do. You know how to play the game. So I thought I'd start off tonight talking about aeration, since that seems to be a pretty big deal. So in the, and I got kicked in the teeth a little bit, figuratively speaking, last week because I'd kind of forgotten I'd promised to write an article. So I wrote that article. Hello, Gil. Good to see you. Hey, Jason Dodd. I bet you're frozen. Scott and Leah, good gosh, what's the temperature out in Beggs, Oklahoma? Hey, Virgil, there's Iowa. Good to see you guys. Glad y'all are checking in. Thanks. You guys kind of keep me fired up to keep doing this. Deborah Corlew. Hello, Deborah. Good to see you, dear. So, aeration. So I wrote an article, and I bounced it off of R.E. Thompson and I think John Harson. I can't remember who I bounced it off of. But anyway, I wrote an article about aeration. So there's Danny Mack checking in from San Antonio. You're not cold yet. I know you're not, but you will be in a minute. Hey, it is 28 degrees right here on the shores of the Brazos River in Pecan Plantation near Granbury, Texas. I slept outside last night. We have a screened-in porch right there, and I love sleeping out there. And I woke up, it was 48 degrees, and it was really comfortable. But I don't think I'll sleep out there tonight. Hello, Jim Allen. 9 degrees in Beggs. Yep, I kind of figured that. You guys are headed 8 degrees with a high of 0 for a low. 8 degrees for a high, 8 for 0 for low. Yeah, you guys need to roll up the windows and kind of snuggle up. I'm going to hit the topic of aeration briefly because I know you guys are going to pitch a few questions out there. Hello, Dan. You're staying warm? Yeah. We're going to stay warm. We have a heater unless the dadgum grid goes down. And if it goes down, then we still have a heater. We'll figure it out. Aeration. So, the purpose of aeration is to move water. So I think we need to change the name of aeration, because aeration insinuates we're adding air to water. But almost every single aeration system's job is designed to move the water. And by moving the water, it allows that wet stuff to communicate with the atmosphere. And that's where the magic happens. You know, it's really, really cool. The atmosphere, air, is a sponge. It can absorb as much as it can take. So it's going to absorb some of your water. But it can also absorb gases, you know, like oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, all these different things that are there. And water's the same way. Water's a sponge as well. So if the atmosphere has something that the water needs, the water's going to take it, like oxygen, for example, and vice versa. If the air needs water, it's going to take it. So aeration's job fundamentally is to move water to where it can correspond with, contact, and communicate with the atmosphere. That's how water does its magic. That's why rivers are outstanding for cleansing water. I mean, if you look at a map of, go to Google Earth and look at Dallas. Look on the south side of Dallas. They got a water treatment plant. So they bring water in from a variety of different lakes. Ray Roberts, Lake Lavon, Ray Hubbard. Those lakes provide water to the city of Dallas. The city of Dallas loses 25% of that water from leakage, infrastructure issues, but that other 75% is consumed. Really not. It's just used, tainted, soiled, and then it goes into a water treatment plant on the south side of Dallas, on the west side of Interstate 45. I've driven by and smelled it many, many times. So when that water treatment plant, sewer treatment plant, does what it does, it's churning that water, it's letting solids settle out, it's releasing gases into the air. We're smelling methane whenever those sewer treatment plants do what they do. And then, yes, they do, they dump that water into the Trinity River. Then it flows down the Trinity River all the way down toward Houston, who drinks it. So that water's got to cleanse itself. And rivers are a magical way to do that because water can roll over and move and churn and do the magic that it does to release its gases and release its whatever it's got. The only thing it doesn't release very well are pharmaceuticals, which is another topic. But aeration, hello Michael Eric, Deborah Corlew, minus 6 degrees actual temperature today. Ouch. Ouch. That's crazy. You're going to have wind chills minus 25. I was listening to the radio earlier today. In parts of Montana, it's going to be like minus 45. Dude, that freezes your nose and your ears and all that stuff. So, and then you're going to have negative 25 wind chills and 50 degrees next week. We're going to have like 80 next week. Weird. But you know what? That's the way it is. So, there's basically 3 fundamental ways to aerate a pond. One is with a fountain. And fountains are more to be pretty than they are to aerate. Fountains typically suck water in from 2 to 3 feet deep, bring it up with an impeller, and blow it straight up in the air and let it cascade. And so a fountain's job is to look pretty. I mean, you got beautiful light packages, you know, so you can kick the fountain on at night and have light shining up into the plume of water. It's really, really beautiful. Its job is to be pretty. So it's not quite as functional to aerate the entire pond column, water column, as others. Then there's circulators. Circulators, their job is to move water fundamentally horizontally, which wind and wave action can do that. But the cool thing about circulators, there's several kinds. There's some that look like a little miniature fountain that sucks water up from 4 or 5 feet down and then has it cascade rapidly over the top of a baffle and breaks it up and creates a current laterally moving 360 degrees away from that circulator. Then there's other circulators that were designed, like Casco Marine, for example. They're an advertiser in Pond Boss. Casco Marine has these circulators that were designed for the upper Midwest and northern tier ponds to help keep docks from freezing up. So the way that works is it's kind of like there's a propeller or an propeller that turns really rapidly and pushes water horizontally or diagonally up or down. And that's a pretty cool way to simulate the current of a river. And what those circulators were designed for were to keep docks from freezing up. Because if a dock freezes and then the ice begins to thaw, it tears the docks apart. So that's what circulators were designed for, and now they're a pretty good tool to be using in your ponds and lakes. The most popular kind of aeration system is bottom diffuse systems. It looks like looks kind of like Alka-Seltzer, you know, bubble plumes blowing up through the water. Large amounts of small bubbles cascading up through the water column, and when it hits the top of the water, it shapes it kind of like a mushroom. So it's moving water vertically. So you can move water horizontally, you can move it vertically, you can move it diagonally. So part of what your job is to figure out exactly what it is that you want to do with the consummate ultimate mission of moving water to contact the atmosphere. The more it contacts the atmosphere, the cleaner it can make itself be. It can relieve itself of gases. You ever walked in the edge of your pond, stepped in that black muck, and all of a sudden you smell what smells like sulfur or rotten eggs? That's hydrogen sulfide gas. That's the water, and you give it the opportunity to release that gas into the atmosphere, which is helping break down organic matter that's in the bottom of your pond right there by the edge, where in the fall when the leaves fall off and they float to the edge and then they sink, then the water's job is to process that organic matter. And if you can expedite that process, you can keep your water happy. Happy water, happy life. Menage a trois. I'm getting some messages on Messenger. Uh-oh. Debbie Dobbs Lusk said, I love you, Pond Boss. Oh, man. Isn't that nice? I'm going to message her right back. I love you, Debbie Dobbs. That's her maiden name. Yeah, okay. I'm hoping y'all are fixing to make fun of me. I deserve it. Hey, Eric Coleman, greetings from Beaumont. I'm still patiently waiting my cheap Friday night date to show. Here I am. Hey, you know what? You must have bought a subscription to Pond Boss. Look at that. $35 a year. Cheaper than a Friday night date, and it lasts a year. Sound like Eric Coleman got a subscription for his cheap Friday night date to show up. Yep. Scott Grooms, are the Casco circulators effective with a solar and battery system? I don't have power near the pond dock. I'd love to hang one off the dock. I do not know that. I think, from my knowledge, unless they've done something, and to be perfectly honest, which I totally am, I do not keep up enough as I should with all the different products. Y'all are killing me. Yes, we went ring shopping. Yes, she's got a new ring. Yes, it's been ordered. No, it's not ready yet. So, some of y'all need to sign up for the Pond Boss or the Bob Lusk Institute of Higher Pondology so I can pay for that ring. She's earned it. She deserves it. Yep, she's got a new ring. You know what? I'll have to, when she gets it, I'll have her post a picture. I don't know what to tell you because I'm not that good at the ring things. Yeah, we went ring shopping last. Oh no, Eric, you're not going to get stood up. Hey, $35, cheaper than a Friday night date. Your date's coming. This is a date that will not stand you up. I promise. I don't make promises I can't keep. All right, so aeration. So let me see here. Let me go back here. Are the Casco circulators effective with a solar? I don't know that they are. The Casco circulators are, every one I've worked with or used are 110 volts and about 20 amps. Well, I mean, that you're on a 20 amp breaker. They're not pulling 20 amps. But I don't know of any circulators that are battery powered yet or solar powered. I don't know that. I don't know that they are. Yeah, Jim Allen, there's a dude. Hey, hydrogen sulfide in a 1 part in 1,100 parts of is instantly fatal. Well, I'm still living, so it must be less than that. I don't know what it is, but you can smell it, you know. But I can't imagine nature wanting to poison us that fast. I could see it happening, but not quite that fast. Gil, that's good intel, buddy. So let's see what Danny Mac's got. My aerators are set to cut off when the air temperature falls below 50. That's a good idea. Hope it just got scrolled down. Trying to preserve pond water heat. It fell to 44 degrees in January. Hey, you know, Danny Mac, man, way back in the 80s, there was a guy on the south side of San Antonio in the city limits that had like 6 small ponds in his backyard. And I'm trying to remember, I cannot think of that guy's name, off of a creek. Man, I need to get on Google Earth. You need to get on Google Earth and see. I'm sure that guy's gone now because he was well up in years, 40 years ago. Unless he's one of those 125-year-old guys that are still on Social Security we've been hearing about in the news. But that guy raised tens of thousands of threadfin shad right there on the south side of San Antonio. and it never got cold enough to kill those fish. And those fish die at 42 degrees. So, Danny Mack is a nuclear physicist. You guys probably don't know that, but now you do. Danny Mack is one of the most brilliant dadgum scientist guys I've ever met. It just amazes me the stuff that he comes up with. Love the Richard Anderson article. Dr. Anderson, I got to tell you about that, Jim, and everybody else. Dr. Anderson was a great friend. He's the guy that did the research to help us figure out how to use relative weights for largemouth bass. He and his students in the 60s, 70s, and 80s weighed and measured over 300,000 bass. And what they did was they worked mostly in Missouri because he was based in the University of Missouri at a cooperative pond management program back in the day. And Dr. Anderson, I can't remember how we met. He found Pond Boss online. And then he started emailing me. We started talking. Then I found out that the guy's a legend. He's in the Hall of Fame. That guy is in the American Fisheries Society Hall of Excellence. He's in the top 10. And Dr. Anderson and I started to communicate, and we actually invited him to come speak at a couple of Pond Boss conferences, and he did, even like up into his upper 70s, early 80s. Well, he died about a month ago, and at 94 years old, he was ready. He'd been ready for a while. He and his wife are married for like 72 years. And Joan is still alive. She's they're outside of Houston, in a suburb of Houston, Richmond, Rosenberg, Sugar Land, that area somewhere. And Dr. A passed away about 3 or 4 weeks ago. No, longer ago than that. It was it had to be like January the 5th, so 6 weeks ago. But anyway, that guy was a legend in the pond management business. And he'd sent me an article that was a little bit more complicated than I knew how to interpret. And he sent it to me like 5 or 6 years ago. So I dug up that article, Jim, back in December, and I started working on it and made myself learn what it was he was trying to teach me, that I was pushing back and not wanting to learn. And I thought, you know what, I've got to learn this. So I dug that article up in December and started working on it. I got to where I could comprehend it well enough that I could add to it and then edit it and then put it into the January, February issue of Pond Boss. And then he died. So the timing was providential, I'm going to tell you. But Dr. Anderson, if you guys don't have the January, February issue of Pond Boss, there's three really significant articles in that issue of the magazine that you need to read. One of them was about the harvest plan that we did, where we removed some fish from Lake Deanna, which is south of Kansas City. Then the article that was written by Dr. Anderson that I edited and added to. And then the other one was renovating a stretch of the San Juan River in Colorado. That is pretty interesting. There's some fascinating science in that stuff. And I'm in the throes of trying to wrap up the March-April issue. I'm hoping to knock that out tomorrow and the next day on Wednesday, Thursday, and try to be finished with that. So I'm kind of rambling. Throw me some questions, guys. I'm working on another cool project. It is so much fun being me. I'm telling you, I get some crazy questions, and they're mostly fun. A lot of them are simple, but some of them are not. I got an email 6 or 8 weeks ago from a gentleman in California who is working on a project near Lake Tahoe. It's in California, and there's like a 30-acre lake right on an interstate highway, Interstate, 84 or something. Anyway, he had the lake analyzed. Woo! Maybe I'm sleepy. Take away fecundity. That's pretty funny. Jim Allen, your sense of humor I love it. You're an engineer, And when you say something like this, pretty funny. All right, Gil, I see it. I'm fixing to come at it and take a look at it. Dang, Gil, you're killing me with this poison talk. I've already lost my train of thought now reading that. Takeaway, fecundity. My wife says not to encourage my sad humor. Engineers have cool humor. You just have to think about it before you laugh. Oh, I just tickled myself. Sorry. All right. Dad was the head research chemist at Western Company of North America. He witnessed a fellow employee uncap a poison gas well, dropped like he was struck by lightning when he took a breath of the hydrogen sulfide. By the way, you can smell it in 1 part in 10 million parts of air. Well, that's probably what we're smelling when we step on that black, nasty monkey gut. And here comes Danny Mack. He's chiming in about hydrogen sulfide. Fellas, I'm sorry I broke that up. Hey, let's go switch to some fish stuff. Michael Ehrig, our friend from Iowa, our guy that likes to taunt the conservatives on Facebook. You do, admit it. I see you do it. You act like you're not a liberal, and who cares, right? Do golden shiners have a better chance to make it in an established pond than, let's say, fathead? Golden shiners do stand a better chance to make it in an established pond than, let's say, yes, they do. So fathead minnows, they inhabit the same littoral zone areas as do bluegill, green sunfish, largemouth bass, and pretty much most fish in a pond. And the thing about fatheads is they're real sluggish. They're real slow. So if you take fathead minnows and stock them into an established pond, the odds are pretty much zero that they're going to survive. Hello, Todd Austin. Good to see you, buddy. Better late than never. Glad you're here. We're rocking and rolling. We've already talked about aeration. You might have to go back and rewatch this thing. Where golden shiners are quick. They're fast. They'll move into open water. They'll dart in and out. Where fathead minnows are sluggish and slow-moving creatures. So look at the different species of fish as tools in your pond management plan. So, Michael, like golden shiners, they stand a much greater chance to be able to survive and not be decimated than fathead minnows do. But at the same time, it's kind of a balancing act because golden shiners, for example, can get to be 5 to 7 inches long. They're notorious nest raiders. Hey, Josh, good to see you, buddy. Did you get the latest issue of Pond Boss? If you did, I want to hear your thoughts about how I treated you. I loved on you, buddy. I gave you some love. Seriously, cheers. So all the different fish, for example, let's just take bluegill. In Iowa, bluegill are probably going to reproduce twice a year, maybe 3 times a year if you're feeding them and you got the right kind of habitat, and you get a few bluebird days like going to happen here in another 10 days. Bluegills there in Iowa are going to reproduce. Now in Texas, they're going to reproduce 4 times, maybe 5 times, depending on what part of the state you're in. Josh Milchewski. Josh Milchewski. Help me out, Josh. Did I get it? What's your nephew doing? Catch me up. Is he fishing? Golden shiners not only survived, but thrived in my... Yeah, dude, I got it. Woohoo! Yay, baby. We go. Yep. Let's see, Josh. What does it say here? Operations manager at Barton Solvents with the Platteview Senior High School. That must be along the Platte River. You know, I know that you have webbed feet. I've seen that because I've hung out with you. Yeah, you do love stirring the pot. I watch you stir the pot. I want to pour some onions in that pot sometimes, but I lurk and keep my keyboard shut. So going back to the golden shiner topic, Golden shiners are pretty resilient. They're predators limited by mouth size. My dog is starting to chirp. So each one of these different forage fish serves a little different purpose. Fathead minnows, for example, their primary function is to promote the first year's growth of largemouth bass, which means they can reproduce prolifically if given the chance. But when you stock them into an existing pond, as slow as they are, they're not going to survive. I remember I gave a speech some years back at a Purina dealer. Oh, I got to tell you about Purina and Optimal here in a minute. Let me hit that topic here in a minute. We've got a little something going on there that you guys need to know about. Girlfriend, come here. Hey, come here. What are you barking at? Come here. Come here, get up here. Come here. What are you doing? Huh? Come here. Get up here. Tell everybody hello. That's girlfriend. What are you barking at? Huh? Don't lick my mouth. So, already lost track. Where was I, girlfriend, before you interrupted? Isn't she pretty? She is a good girl. She is a good girl. If I was single, I'd use her to pick up chicks. Oh, she's yawning. All right, go. See you. Good girl. Go lay down. And she's going to the door for me to let her out. Okay. Oh, I know what it was. I was giving a speech at a Purina dealer a few years ago, and one of the points I made was it takes about 10 pounds of bait fish for a bass to gain 1 pound. So this guy kind of raised his hand. He'd interrupted me 4 or 5 times. You and the dog have the same beard. There's that engineer humor that we all love. Yeah, you know what? I got a little more white than she does. I used to tell people about girlfriend that, I've been with a blonde and a brunette and a dark-headed girl, and that's just Debbie. She's my first redhead. All right, I need to stay on track. Y'all are distracting me. Speech. Okay, so I was giving a speech. This guy says, well, man, I bought 100 pounds of fathead minnows. Was that the right thing or the wrong thing? Well, I had already told the whole crowd, if you buy a Texas Hunter feeder and you buy some Purina floating fish food and feed the fish, you're going to give your pond a chance to increase the nutrition, increase the fecundity. Hey, fecundity, there's that word that Jim Allen's tossing out here tonight. And grow more bluegills and grow more bait fish. So the guy said, you mean I stocked 100 pounds of fathead minnows into my pond where the bass are crowded? Was that smart? So I said, well, let's see. 100 pounds of fathead minnows. They're probably not going to live very long. They're going to get decimated. And 100 pounds of fathead minnows grows how many pounds of bass? 10. What'd you pay for those minnows? He said, back then, this was like 10 years ago, he said, I paid $10 a pound. So he paid $1,000 to grow 10 pounds of bass. Eat those by candlelight. Pretty expensive. What would you have done? I'd have bought a Texas Hunter feeder. Back then, Texas Hunter feeders were like $750. They're about $1,000 now. And buy some fish food and feed your bait. Feed your bait fish and manage your bass. Call some of your bass. And another thing. Okay. So I got a message over the weekend that Optimal had closed their doors. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's the truth because I don't know. I haven't taken the time to call them, and there's reasons behind that. But I did go on their website, and I've gotten phone calls from probably 10 people. One about an hour ago from a guy in northeast Arkansas who said that he couldn't order Optimal. But I went to the website, and they're not taking any new orders. So I think Optimal may have closed their doors. So I got that message last weekend, whenever it was, weekend before. And so I called the decision makers at Purina Mills. I said, okay, guys, listen. Optimal, it sounded like they closed their doors. There's a marketing opportunity for you guys. If you'll do it, where we can get, bring in. I think part of what happened with Optimal, it was a good feed. It was a really good feed. But I think part of the problem was Purina dropped the ball on their marketing and distribution. If Kenny Sanderson shows up, he's going to verify that. Hey, Jim, you don't have to justify that. Fecundity is a good word. Yep. So anyway, I called those guys, and they had a powwow last week. And they're trying to come up with some kind of a strategy to offer something special to Pond Boss subscribers and Pond Boss fans for Aquamax feeds. So they are aware of what's going on. The first plea that I made to them was, hey, you took the largemouth SKU out of production. Bad decision. Because if you take that SKU off, and I know they don't sell a huge volume of Aquamax largemouth, but I know this. Guys that buy Aquamax largemouth also buy MVP, 400, 500, and 600. And I've spoken to one guy in particular that buys 10 pallets of fish food every year, and he doesn't even have a fish farm. And he said, you know what? If I can't get largemouth, I'm just going to go to Cargill or somebody else because it's cheaper feed anyway. So, I try to explain that to those guys, and I'm cautiously optimistic that they're working on a game plan. I emailed him just a little bit ago and copied the fella. Actually, Mark Fletcher watches this show from time to time, and he's the guy that called me. So we're going to see where that goes. Ian Swanger, your thought on getting some plastic snow saucers with cinder block on bottom with pea gravel. Good thing? If you're going to do that, go ahead and buy the plastic kid swimming pools that are bigger in diameter. If you want to have a cinder block on the bottom and fill it with it, and you don't even have to have pea gravel. I think the plastic snow saucers are too small. Dave Weber, when I stocked my new pond this spring with fathead minnows, will the 5 to 8 inch mature bluegill that I move in from my nursery pond have a significant predation? Absolutely, yes, they will. Bluegill love to eat fathead minnows. Brian Nutt, so glad I tuned in for this. See, look at there. I just saved you some dumb tax. 4 acre pond. Attaboy. So, hey, at 7:02, let's take a minute and do a commercial. Pond Boss magazine. Here it is. It comes in a little plastic bag. $35 a year. Cheaper than a Friday night date, and it lasts a year. I took Debbie out to eat Mexican food yesterday, and she had a mojito. And I had a Tito's and tonic. We spent like $65 on a meal. $35 and it lasts a year. Pretty cheap deal. Texas Hunter Products. I love those guys. And things are changing all the time. You got to embrace change. And, Chris Blood has been one of my running buddies for a long time. And now they've got Chris more into research and development, trying to create new products, which he just created a brand new dog feeder. You guys need to check that out. If you have a dog and you want to have an automatic feeder for that dog or more dogs, that's a pretty good idea. Hey, John Wilson, we need to be talking here pretty quick. I got to book an airplane ticket to come see you. As a matter of fact, I was looking at my calendar earlier today, and I'm pretty fired up to come hang out with you guys and see what we're going to do. I need to talk to you about what you want me to. John Wilson wants me to give a speech to his employees at their annual meeting, and I'm really fired up about that. You guys check him out. Aquadoc, Lake and Pond Management. He is the owner, CEO. That is a fast-growing company. John Wilson, not only is he a fantastic aquatic biologist kind of guy, he is also quite the entrepreneur, and he's building a pretty cool daggum business. And I can't wait to come hang out with him and his team. And some of them can't make it. They're going to do it on Zoom. It sounds like we have a couple hundred people paying attention to something I've got to say. So I need to, John Wilson needs to tell me what I need to say. Hey, Purina Mills, I'm still pretty fired up about those guys. I love their products. We're having a little come to Jesus meeting about distribution. And the thing that's a little irritating about Purina Mills is the fish food volume is so much lower than all their big sales like horse and cattle and show animals. Their big one right now is backyard flock. Hey, you're welcome, John. Yep. Okay, I see what Gil's saying here. Virgil. All right. So anyway, I love Purina's fish food. I've seen the results. I've grown 3.5 pound, 3 pound 4 ounce bluegill on that fish food. So I know that stuff works. It's a great product. Easy Docks of Texas, David Schneiderman. He's an advertiser and a sponsor of us, and he's always being innovative to help people. Matter of fact, he's going to go, if the weather's better, good, on Friday, he's going to go take a look at a 104-acre lake, the one I was telling you about, Bay Miltonberger's lake, on Friday, and he's going to take a look at that. And that lake has an inclination to rise 6, 8, 10 feet at a time. So you can't really have a stationary dock and expect it to work very well. So a floating dock is going to be the ticket. birddogit.com. You guys check that out and see what you think about it. Matt Marsden with American Fish Trade. Glad it's all about a question. At what temperature do threadfin shad begin to die off? You get real sluggish at 45, and at 42, they're dead. Yeah, Leanne's in there. I got Bird Dog. I hit Bird Dog. Yeah, Bird Dog it. Who am I forgetting, Leanne? Leanne is the leader of the pack for Pond Boss. She's the one, the man, or woman's the phone. I'm going to say man's the phone. Woman's the phone. She's the one, she's the glue that holds us together. So Leanne is an absolute champion. She is predictably there all the time. She's got it. And we love Leanne on our team. Virgil Meyer, can aeration in cool weather help prevent fish kills, then run them at night in warm weather? Please share. Yeah, so here's the way I see it. I did get started on the aeration thing. If you're really wanting to aerate a pond and make it healthier, you need to look at bottom diffused aeration. And Virgil, now is about the time we probably should be talking about that for you. Because your pond's got a few years under it now, and it's getting to the point where we should at least have that conversation. So aeration in cool weather can help prevent fish kills, but it can also help prevent fish kills in the summertime. Now, here's the thing. What I tell people about running a bottom diffused aeration system in the summertime is monitor your water temperature. You don't want the water temperature to get above about 83 degrees. And an aeration system can actually cause it to get to be warmer. Now, maybe not so much in Iowa because you guys have cooler nights than we do in Texas. But when the aeration system's running and it's 103 degrees in the afternoon in the south, it's going to help push the temperature of the water up. So what I tell people in the south, some in the Midwest, is to have, in the summertime, have a timer on bottom diffused aeration where it kicks on like at 9 o'clock at night and runs till 9 in the morning. That keeps the ambient temperature down, still moves the water enough to cleanse it, like Gil was talking about, to get rid of that hydrogen sulfide gas before we die from it. Tongue in cheek. That was a tongue in cheek. I know. Don't nail me. Dave Reed, 60 miles south of Wichita Falls. Oh, 60 miles south of Wichita Falls? Let me see what that is here. 60 miles south of Wichita Falls. Where are you? Looking on my map. 60 miles south of Wichita Falls. It must be Archer City. No, it's farther than that. Alney, Newcastle, Graham, Bryson. Okay, so in that area, that's good stocking. F1, mix them up. Dave Reed, mix them up. Add some F1 tiger bass, add a few northerns. And I would even be tempted to add a few pure strain Floridas. If you mix the genes up, then what will happen is whatever's most conducive to that area will be the ones that thrive. American sport fish. You know what? American sport fish, Leanne says, they're the ones that bought my pond management company back in 2019. And now they have a footprint in Texas, and they're the ones that are the producers of the F1 Tiger Bass. They're the ones that started with that. So those guys, I mean, Sean McNulty, Sawyer Childs, they're running a pretty tight ship over there, but they also have their footprint in Texas in the pond management business. So yeah, we're big fans of American sport fish. Bill Shrum, I stocked some 3 to 5 inch bluegill last August from Hartley's, and they gave me 1,000 gambusia. By late October, I could not see any. They were a good snack. I bet you they'll show back up. They're pretty resilient. Yep, Leanne is the best. Josh, what pond age should aeration be added? Midwest pond. I'm going to tell you year 4. Year 4, year 5. Leanne is sitting here talking. Jack County, okay, Jacksboro, let's see, what is it? Oh, Lord. Yeah, I'm all over Jack County. I know Jack County. Gosh dang it. Squaw Mountain, that's what I'm trying to remember. Casco, Outdoor Water Solutions in Keaton. There's some of our advertisers. Leanne's holding my feet to the fire. All right, so let me see here. I'm going to back up here. I'm getting distracted. Let me figure this out. Hey, Bill, I think those gambusia may show up. It's hard to eradicate those because they live in such shallow water. I'm trying to squelch a yawn. I don't know why I'm getting sleepy, but I am. Got something to do with age. Or maybe wine. Oh, I was going to go back to tell you guys about that. Oh, there's Gil. All right, I need to read that. Hey, I see that, Gil. I'll be right. Okay, I'm going to come back to Gil's comment here in a minute. I think I might come right to it. Oh, there's a lake up west of Lake Tahoe, about a 30-acre lake. It's got smallmouth bass, green sunfish, a few bluegill, and some hybrid green bluegill sunfish. The Georgia Giants, they call them, but they probably don't call them then. Baby bass work the gambusia yard. Yeah, Danny Mac, they do. So anyway, it's going to be kind of fun. After I get off of here in about 15 minutes or so, I'm going to call the guy in California, and we're going to chit-chat about that lake. Putt Lake, Lake Putt, P-U-T-T. You guys look it up and you'll see what I'm talking about. It looks like it's a really old lake that was built to benefit the railroad in 1914, back when they had steam engines. So now what they want to do is take this non-performing asset and figure out how to blend it into an ecotourism project. And one of the concepts is to be able to catch a fish and then cook it. So I'm not sure a lake like that can produce enough to generate enough revenue to support what they're thinking about, but it can do some fun things to help people learn about the way nature works. So that's probably the angle that I'm going to go take a look at. Jason Dodd in Wichita, Kansas. In a new pond, is it possible to overstock the initial forage or wait too long before adding predators? Yeah, it is possible to do that, but not likely. I've seen that maybe a handful of times where people overstock the initial forage. I haven't seen where they've overstocked the initial forage as much as they waited too long to add predators. And the reason, and the consequences of waiting too long to add predators is that those predators are now competing with the prey. So it takes longer for them to grow. When it takes longer for them to grow, it takes longer for them to be able to reproduce. And when it takes longer for them to be able to reproduce, then they're actually competing with the prey fish, especially bluegills and red-ear sunfish. So, I mean, I've done a lot of things. A 9-acre lake back in the early 90s, this guy in his late 70s built this lake. And his directive to me was, hey, Bob, I don't buy green bananas. I'm not sure I'll be here when they get ripe. Y'all have heard me say that. So what he wanted to do was to stock that lake as though it had been there 5 years. The guy spent $90,000 $70,000. Yes, he did. $70,000 were on bait fish. And when the bass were stocked, they ranged in size from 8 inches up to 12 pounds. All they had to do was open their mouths and suck, and they could eat. You know, and there's no doubt in my mind that the bass were able to come in and wear out that forage fish base, but it took about 3 years to do that, 4 years to do that. It depends. Yes, it does. Josh Milchewski. Okay, so I'm going to back up here. Gil Kennenberg, you certainly went over the benefits of fish food versus bait fish. When you did the seminar at the Mansfield Feed Store, right after we did the fish survey, my nephew Ben and I, however, Ben was much more impressed about the Flat Stanley episode that you shared with the crowd, which is probably wasted on your granddaughter's teacher. You talking about Flat Stanley? Yep. I'll save that story for another day. Yep, that was pretty interesting. I think that's what you're telling. I think that's what you're saying to me, Gil. I don't ever remember what I share with the crowd. When I give a speech, I give the speech. Okay, let me see here. Let me scroll up a little bit. John Dyer from the Carolinas. Adding habitat and spawning beds in March. Good. Planning on adding copper-nosed bluegill in April and tilapia in May to my 3/4 acre pond. Should I be cautious about overstocking? Planning on adding a feeder. Trying to grow my bass this year. Okay, so what I would do there is the 3/4 acre pond. If you're stocking, John, depends on the size fish. If you're stocking, I made you yawn, didn't I? I suck, y'all suck. We yawned. Here we go. Adding copper-nosed bluegill in April. If you're adding 1 to 3 inch copper-nosed, a significant number of those are going to get eaten. If you're stocking 5 inch copper-nosed bluegills, you don't need more than a couple of 100, 250, because they're going to be able to be in there and reproduce. Tilapia, no need to add more. You don't need, in a 3/4 acre pond, you don't need more than 30 pounds of tilapia that are 5 to 7 inches long. You probably could get away with 15 to 20 pounds because the main thing is you want those fish to be able to reproduce. Dave Weber, did you get the email I sent you last week of the habitat I put in my new pond? It has caused a bit. You know, I don't remember seeing that. I'm going to get away from this for a minute. I'm going to look and see what you sent me, see if I saw it, because I don't think I did. Dave Weber. Dude, I'm looking. Nope, I don't see it. Huh. Uh-oh. Something disappeared here. I got to find you guys again. Oh, man. I lost Facebook. Oh, there it is right there. There it is. What's your email address? Let me look. Maybe I got it on my phone. Dave Weber. What's your email address? Hey, Kenny. I was wondering if you were going to chime in here. I've been talking about you. Weber. Dave Weber. Dave, I don't see it. I don't think I got it. Dude, if I got it, I deleted it. Sorry, but I don't think I got it. If I got it, I would have responded to it because I've had time. I've had time to respond to emails, believe it or not, which is not normal. No, Dave Weber. Hey, Dave, write down your email address so I can look it up or look for it. Looking on my phone. Here we got dead air, which is bad for radio and TV, and this is neither. No, I don't see it. I'm a Bawana. I'm a Bawana? Huh, yeah, I don't think it came through, dude. I'm a Bawana. I don't even want to know what that means. At yahoo.com. I like the Yahoo part. Nope, I didn't get it. Nope, didn't get it. I found one from 2018. Hey, my email address is boblusk@outlook.com. It did not come through, Dave. So I have to question whether you sent it or not. I'm gonna do that just to rattle your cage a little bit. Send it again. I'll look for it and see it. All right, guys. I think we're kind of getting to that point where we're getting to the end. We've been going 50 minutes. That's a long time. And I'm running out of topics. Let me make sure. I'm going to scroll back through here. John Dyer, adding a feeder, that's a good idea. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Dave Reed, Jack County. I love Jack County. That's one of my favorite. That used to be a well-kept secret. Not so much anymore. Yes, Leanne is the best. All right. Hey, guys, I'm going to wrap up. Go eat 10 minutes worth of supper before I jump on this call in near Lake Tahoe. So, I always want to thank you for joining me because you guys are helping keep me young. Although, I love what Clint Eastwood told Toby Keith. Toby Keith asked him, how do you keep staying so young? And Clint Eastwood said, I don't let the old man in. And I'm not going to do that. Okay, so there you go. Dave Weber, send it to info@pondboss.com. Leanne is kind of holding me accountable here because she gets when you send an email to info@pondboss.com, we both get it. And we both look at it, and then one of us depends on the other one to respond to it. So, hey, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I always appreciate you hanging out with me on these Tuesday nights. I'm not sure where I'll be next Tuesday. I never know because I'm always kind of fly by the seat of my pants. That's one of my favorite things about my life is I get to go do stuff whenever it's time, wherever it's not, I get to go do it. So, hey, if you got questions, pitch them to me. Be sure and subscribe to Pond Boss if you haven't already. And if I've got one person signed up for the Institute of Higher Pondology in May, 2 people talking about the October session. And I really need 10 people to make the class work. So if you guys, a number of you have been to it. I see Bill Shrum's been there. John Dyer came. Danny Mack's been. So if you guys know anybody that would be interested in learning a lot more about ponds and lakes and have some really fun hands-on stuff and eat some food, this time without getting poisoned by Ron Ardoin, then you guys get in touch. Send an email to info@pondboss.com and we will check you out, let you in, and tell you all about the Institute of Higher Pondology. So, until next Tuesday, adios for now.